Namaste, my fellow truth seekers. So I've been watching a lot of people, a lot of God-fearing channels, a lot of semen retention channels. And first off, I am kind of over the phrase semen retention. I much prefer abstinence as a word to phrase this practice, which you can associate with anything. You can be abstinent from lots of things. I just find that it's a mouthful and it sounds kind of silly to say. You know, there's more dignified ways to say what it is. That's just my opinion, of course. And a lot of people don't even, probably don't know what abstinent even is, and associate it with things like drugs more so. But you can abstain from anything. So the things that I want to debunk about retention or abstinence and relapse is for one, relapse is not a bad thing. It shouldn't be perceived as a bad thing. You shouldn't be beating yourself up for your innate, primal, it's what's purpose is. It's to spread, and create, and, the powers that be want us sterile. And one thing also to keep in mind about relapse is all the food that you're putting in your body, all these, things injected with, additive hormones and garbage that contort and, create these urges more than they naturally would be or less. So you have to keep those kind of things in mind. And also, if you do end up relapsing, I think the most important thing to keep in mind to practice even is, if you do, make sure you fulfill yourself all the way. Be passionate toward yourself. Make a day or weekend out of it. Don't just oh, it happened, I failed. No, don't beat yourself up. There's nothing wrong with that. Though I admire if you're trying to be militant. I'm not saying it's okay anyway. But this is for the people that need reassurance about this kind of thing. Relapse is not bad at all. What is bad about it is, if you're going to porn, obviously, or if you're doing it excessively or too often, which is, I guess it wouldn't be considered relapse, but the thing about retention, abstinence, that's important is to practice it, not however many days frequently, but throughout the span of your life. Like me, for example, I was an athlete. I would like to consider an Olympic level athlete. And when you're an athlete, you have loads and loads of energy and testosterone. And I had so much. I still have a load of energy that, when you're going through this, you feel all this, you don't know what to do with it. Thankfully, I didn't make any really bad decisions other than hurting myself, really, with, indulgence in the video poison and whatnot. What else? So it's important to not beat yourself up. The mind is very strong. The mind can convince you of, look at how many different kinds of ways people can be. How many different kinds of ways people can be, but still be strong in their spirit. They could be, They could be indulging in things that would be detrimental to other people, hurt other people, like, smoking or drinking or, you know, eating a certain thing that other people might be allergic to or not react well to, or, that kind of thing. But their mind is so strong and they've not introduced these aspects of fear and, you know, we're judging ourselves too hard. It's not even our place to do that. In a way, God is the only one that can judge us. So what is important, like I said, if you do relapse, don't punish yourself and reach a place of fulfillment. It's supposed to happen. It's there's 3 different ways we, recycle our waste or whatever, and that's one of them. So it really heavily depends on how you're taking care of yourself and what you're eating, and also who you're around, obviously, and what's stirring that inside of you. All of these things have a factor. All of it. Now, the things about retention that are important, it's mostly, at least I think, that this is going off of what I feel to say, obviously. It's what's important is to practice it. But like I said, you don't have to be hard on yourself because you only did it for a set amount of days or whatever. You have to go off of how you feel. Each person is different. Your age, how mentally mature you are, and it's a way of finding yourself. You're supposed to connect with this, it's natural. Animals in the wild masturbate. Of course, that is one of the things that separates us from animals, is our ability to have this kind of spiritual, a different outlook than animals have. We have that gift as humans. We have the ability to connect with things in a way that they don't. Or do we? It's important to fulfill yourself, but it's important to have a strong mind. Okay, that's where it gets fucked up, and why people are scared or fucking, they're kind of putting all this on a pedestal because they're not familiar with it. A lot of them is the thing. I've been practicing it since a teenager because, like I said, I've been an athlete. If you're an athlete, you know how it makes you feel. You know how your nerves and your tendons and how sharp your mind is. It has a factor, very much a factor. That's why boxers will, you'll hear about boxers, especially athletes, practicing it a month before their fight. There's a reason for that. But you're also holding on to energy, and depending on what you're going through, what you're eating, your environment, there will be times where it might be a good and wise thing to relapse, to reset and restart. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a bad thing. It's necessary. It's primal. It's we're mammals, so like, and it's all about how you go about it. You have to be mentally and spiritually ready to really practice abstinence. It should be a seamless desire. Me personally, I'm on since mid-October, I haven't. So that'd be like 100 plus days, 120 days, whatever the math is. I've had like I've had several streaks over 2 months, a few over 3 months. Not sure about 4, but I've not felt bad about doing it for many, many, many years. Essentially, when I got off of social media and away from porn, it's never bothered me the same as bad. If anything, and this is what I want to share with you guys, depending on how you go about it, and what I would suggest is get bare in the sun, connect with the elements. That's probably the healthiest way to do it, is out in nature. And you're doing it for the therapeutic, like, massage, and, you know, you're acknowledging yourself, you're loving yourself, you're not denying what you are. And ejaculation or orgasm is, it just happens. It's not supposed to be forced. That's the thing with all these young kids that don't understand, is that they're forcing it and pushing it out. And that's where, the devil and God are on your left and right shoulder telling you to do, or what to do or not to do. And it's a confusing thing. It's because you got all this energy and you have all these influences and distractions, and deviation is around every corner. So what's important about retaining and relapse is to make sure you're thorough with it and that you're acknowledging all sides of it. If you're going to do it, well, I shouldn't say it should be planned, but I would say if you do feel a need, or if you do relapse, plan what you're going to eat after you get that out of your system. Be ready to re-nourish your body and reset to start again. Even if it's for 2 weeks or whatever, you should do that every time, in my opinion. That's why I would highly recommend always be ready with your nourishment. Pre-plan things, fast a couple days while you're doing it even. Really, really reset. Just sit in the sun for a while too. Like, don't force it, but if it's like there, and it's not a bad thing. The thing that makes it bad is all these influences and all your past decisions of indulging in your impulses and urges. So, of course, if you've been doing that since a teenager and you've been spoiled by all this brain rot bullshit that's accessible, then, of course, you're going to find it being very profound because you're not familiar with it. But it's just as profound to connect with yourself during a relapse. I don't even want to call it a relapse because that's not a relapse, therefore, right? Is it bad then if you're committing to it and, acknowledging self-love? The sun is infinite self-love. It feels like a lover, the sun. That's why I would highly recommend all of you get bare, stay bare, for build up your tolerance. Not only with that, but all the elements, get used to getting in cold showers or baths, or, I got a river in my backyard. I jumped in on the 6th or whatever, and so I know I can handle it. That's what I would say all of us should be able to do, is to be able to handle the harshness of the elements. That's one of the easiest ways to connect with sources, be one with the elements. Breath work through the air, grounding through your feet, fire through, your food, and, just looking at a campfire is extremely meditative, I find. Or, could say I'm a dragon because I breathe fire, kind of thing. And water, obviously, you want to get the purest, cleanest spring water. Always try to go for spring water, not filtered, because I've heard of filtered water being from, sewers and like nasty places, osmosis water. You don't want that crap. You want spring water. You want source water that ain't touched or gone through nothing, ain't gone through all this stupid protocol filtration bullshit that's put in nasty little plastic tasting bottles anyway. Most of them. Find you a spring, hit up a spring, get familiar with it. There's probably several around you depending on where you live at. And if there ain't a spring, buy spring water. And there's no excuse to say, oh, you can't afford. No, the only thing that's worth affording is your health. What else is worth your money other than improving how you feel? What else is worth getting up to other than day by day becoming a better self, connecting more with Source, and therefore understanding how much love you can feel from God? And by doing that, and by appreciating all that's in front of us, around us, surrounds us, the Force, the midichlorians. Speaking of, the Jedi and that kind of thing, the Sith, that's the mind is very, very, very powerful, more powerful than I still understand. So your outlook and pre-planning make all the difference with these things, retention and relapse. They're both important, I would say equally. So all my young warriors, man, you're doing fine. Don't worry about it. The fact that you even know what retention is, abstinence, you're doing great. You're making progress in just accepting that concept, that practice. Just being open-minded. You got a lot to feel proud for. It's another beautiful day. I don't see a cloud in the sky. Breath work. Don't shallow breathe. Meaning be aware with your breath. Catch yourself. Breathe with intent. Breathe with prayer. We'll keep in touch. You know what it is.